Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Today we have Ajay Daved from David Consulting. I hope I've got that right. Who helps overseas ad tech companies expand into the UK. He's an ad tech veteran, and Ajay's been in the industry for over 20 years, working in companies like DoubleClick, Google, AOL, and AppNexus. So very excited to listen to his take on the current state of the ad tech market. Ajay, thanks for joining us.
Nice to be here, Gareth. How are you?
Yeah, good. And most importantly, did I get that right, your second, or do you want to reiterate that?
No, we'll go with it, mate. It's Ajay Daved. So you got close.
There we go. Okay. I gave him my best shot. Brilliant. Okay, so if you want to tell us a little bit about the business and what you do within the company. I mean, you're the founder, right?
I'm the founder, and fundamentally what I do is help businesses that want to come to the UK land, launch, and expand. So I use contacts within publishers, agencies to take various products to market, help with strategic positioning, commercialization, marketing. So I'm kind of a bit like a commercial resource for hire, just not on a full-time basis.
Sure. So you sort of act as an external sales operation in the UK, primarily for international ad tech companies. Would that be a fair estimate?
Yes. And recently it's also kind of moved from not just being international businesses, but what I would call homegrown businesses that also need assistance in getting their products into agencies, publishers, or even connections to other ad tech businesses.
Nice, very good, very good. I don't know if you wanted to let us know some of the companies you're currently working with, and maybe a little bit about what they do, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the businesses that I'm working with currently is a company called EntityX. They are a contextual solution, but with a focus on culture or persona. So obviously with the potential death of the cookie, they look at context, interests, adjacent pages, and are able to find audiences that have an kind of affiliation to a product or to a company. Another business that I work for is a German business called Mint Square. They are one of only three official resellers of the trade desk, and they've done very well in the DACH market and in the French market. And now I'm helping them expand into the UK.
Nice, very good, very good. I think that the contextual targeting solution sounds very, very exciting. I mean, the death of the cookie has been heralded for quite some time, hasn't it? But it's never quite come about.
Absolutely. I guess it's a bit like the year of the mobile. So eventually we'll get to death of the cookie as well.
Yeah, that was a classic from Google. It was always the year of the mobile for about 10 years. I
100%.
remember. Yeah. Cool. So what are some of the key features that make your consultancy stand out from other options in the market?
I guess is some of the things that you touched on. Firstly, veteran of the space. Thanks for the compliment. 20 plus years has allowed me to build a vast network of contacts within publishers and agencies, both at top level, C-suite, and also at the kind of, I guess, operational activation level as well. So as we all know, the industry that we work in, it's heavily relationship driven. So that's kind of one of the core, I guess, competencies that working with someone like me brings. Also having been in the industry for 20 plus years, I've seen a lot of change from the good old days of sending IOs and waiting for them to come through in your fax machine to how we operate in present day, which is obviously all, I guess, a level of automation and in the programmatic world. So there's a vast understanding of kind of through the ages of the ecosystem that we are currently all enjoying ourselves in.
Yeah, nice. I remember the first agency I worked in, Zenith Media, they had a fax machine, and we were literally faxing IOs to publishers. It's come on quite a bit since then, hasn't it?
You could
Cool.
say
And
that.
so obviously you guys are at you're at the forefront of ad tech. You're seeing a lot of the companies come to market, particularly like internationally. So just wanted to pick your brains on what are the most exciting AI companies, or potentially any of the new features from established companies that you're seeing come to market.
Yeah, absolutely. So to mention a few, there's a business called Atomic Ads, which is a heavy emphasis in the AI space, run by a fantastic chap called Jeet. Definitely worth a conversation for your listeners if they haven't spoken to him already. But from what I understand, it's a layer of technology that helps bring efficiency, a level of optimization to buyers across the programmatic ecosystem, ingesting multiple platforms into one user interface. So if you think about workload, which is heavily reduced at that point, and allows kind of operational teams to focus on things which maybe in the past have kind of dropped to the wayside, allows them to also, I guess, service their clients a lot better. So atomic ads is one thing that I've seen over the last few months. There's another company called Pixis. They operate in kind of a similar space, again, in the AI. Well, it's the buzzword. I think if you're a business right now, you have to have AI in what you do, somewhere along the lines. But also worth checking out. I think their recent valuation was something along the lines of 700 million. They work with a lot of big brands, a lot of big agencies, headquartered in the US. There was also a press release yesterday from Pubmatic, I believe, about their new operating system, which is again built around AI, bringing more optimization and automation into making deals, ensuring outcomes are met, which I think is going to be a heavy emphasis in 2026 overall. Is going to be around kind of hitting outcomes. And over and above that, obviously the AI buzz. There's obviously CTV. A lot of talk about CTV in the space right now. Lots of vendors coming into the market. Google obviously putting a heavy emphasis into that space as well. But it remains to be seen with kind of walled gardens potentially going up around, Netflix, Channel 4, the bigger broadcasters, how that plays out. And I think beyond that, maybe there's going to be a refocus on out of home, programmatic or digital out of home as well. I think that was kind of maybe high on people's agenda before COVID. And then once everybody went into lockdown, the streets were empty. But now people are going back out into work, into the office. Maybe there's going to be a reset into kind of out of home and programmatic out of home.
Yeah, definitely. I think you touched on a lot of subjects there. I think obviously in terms of AI, obviously the focus seems to be more on trying to drive efficiency. Obviously you mentioned Atomic Ads there. We've been speaking with them for a while. Great company, and what they're trying to do is trying to use AI to help improve trading teams and operations teams, ad ops teams efficiency using AI, right? And there's obviously there's definitely a lot of scope for AI to sort of improve that. So interesting, you sort of mentioned some of the companies that are trying to make that happen. So focusing on AI, how do you think AI is going to change the media industry? So we mentioned effectiveness, but how do you think more broadly it's going to change the media industry? Do you see a time, obviously we've had, there's a lot of new companies coming to market in AI, but for example, we now have automated agent buyers who are effectively doing almost a trader's job, but leveraging impression level data to try and buy more efficiently. It's very similar to sort of the old algorithms that we had that are available within most DSPs anyway, but using sort of the agentic layer to drive further efficiency and have like they call it human level decision making at the impression level. Do you see that becoming the way that media is traded going forward? Do you see basically media teams just now consisting of AI agents, or do you think there'll still be a lot of sort of human touch in the trading process? How do you see AI sort of changing the media industry, first of all within the ad ops, but then also more generally?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I think over the last few months, what we've certainly heard about and what we've read about is not only the efficiency, but efficiency can come from, obviously, I guess, multiple factors depending on who the person is and how you're looking at it. If you're a CFO, you may be looking at it from an efficiency standpoint in terms of cost cutting, and that's maybe being like part of these, I guess, for a better word, scaremongering within the organizations or within the people that are in that kind of operational team. where they'll no doubt and understandably feel that their careers or their jobs are on the line because machines are going to come in and potentially replace them. And that is not just at obviously the programmatic layer, which we operate in primarily, but also in the creative ecosystem, where is the level of automation in the creative part of the industry going to be able to knock up hundreds of creatives in a nanosecond, pump that through a platform which can create hundreds of line items in a matter of minutes, to then optimize to not only outcomes like you said, but also to the best performing creative. How's that going to affect the creative industry and those kind of creative directors and the people that build these currently, fabulous creatives? So it remains to be seen, but to your question, the efficiency is really dependent on who's looking at it through what lens. If it's a CFO and a business owner and they're potentially going, well, I've currently got 50 people here. Do I really need 50 people? Because I can bring in a platform that potentially reduces that 50 people down to whatever it might be and drive greater efficiency by cost cutting. Another way could be the operational team is looking at it and going, well, we still need people, because fundamentally, one thing that hasn't changed in this industry since I've been in it is people. It's what make it. It's why we're in it. Like, we like to build relationships. We like to go for a lunch and we like to have a drink with the people that we work with. People are still uber important. Fundamentally, that's a machine. It still will need input. It still will need somebody making sure what it does is doing the right thing. It's still got to learn, right? And that's going to come from an element of time, an element of machine learning. I mean, even when you log into ChatGPT, there's a disclaimer at the bottom of it, right? Like, just don't take everything for granted that this thing is telling you. Check it. And likewise, I think when, potentially these platforms come into these agencies or these publishers, there will need to be a level of, let's make sure what it's doing is right. Like, I think people will still be key, regardless of platforms, regardless of AI and automation. Yes, it will make life better. And yeah, unfortunately, I think there will be certain roles which will become redundant or will be less people heavy. But one thing that I feel that always has maintained true is that people will be needed in this industry. It's a people driven business.
Definitely, I agree. Obviously the need for a human touch is really important. I still see that there will be a need for a human touch in creative production, especially with the concepts and ideas sort of side of things. But in terms of the actual production, seeing what AI you mentioned. Like you mentioned, seeing what AI can do now is actually getting quite scary. Like the amount of iterations that it can do, in no time at all. Whereas we have in-house creative resource, for example, and traditionally there has been some element of sort of dynamic creative happening, but it's been very sort of limited. And now with the advent of AI, you can literally create so many different iterations very, very quickly. At the moment, it's not perfect, but obviously, like you say, it's going to get better and it's going to improve. But ultimately, we're hoping that it's just going to make the people that we have more efficient, so that they can focus on sort of more higher level things. And I think that's probably the way it will go first. Whether it gets so efficient that eventually it does, Sam Altman always talks about a single person company. I don't know how realistic that is, but sorry, you have a single person company, a single person $1 billion company. I don't know how realistic that is.
I'm close to $1 billion.
Nice, very good. But yeah, I don't know how realistic it is that somebody gets to that sort of level, but we see it as like optimizing the people that we have rather than replacing them. Very cool. So outside of AI, because we talked a lot about that, what sort of other trends are you seeing? You mentioned CTV earlier, but are there any other trends that you're seeing in the space that maybe people should be aware of?
I mean, I think CTV is one that we're all very aware of. I do think creative is going to come back on the agenda. I feel that's kind of often gets left on kind of the sidewalk, so to speak. And one of the companies I didn't mention earlier is I work for another business called Next, NEXD, and they are a creative solution. But along with all of that, I think there is going to be the kind of emergence of sustainability, especially as the new kind of directives are becoming more into force this year around ESG, and companies having to show what they're doing when it comes to sustainability, carbon savings, emission savings, the partners that they're working with, the vendors that they're working with, and what they're actually doing themselves. And I think also consumers are taking a close look at kind of, what is a brand doing when it comes to sustainability? Like, are they doing anything around their packaging, or what are they doing to save carbon footprint? I mean, that's obviously not going to be applicable to every industry or every brand. If you're flying planes around the world, you're probably not as concerned about your ad serving footprint, let's call it, due to what you do as a nature of your business. But I think sustainability could well be back on the agenda for 2026.
Right, interesting. Yeah, I think there's been sort of a bit of a swerve away from the ESG stuff recently. Maybe as I guess like the economy has become a little bit more of a concern. I think obviously when things are good, people focus on things that sort of goes higher up the priority chain, or lower down the sort of priority chain. Obviously it's important, but like obviously the most important thing is staying in business, right? And I think maybe what you're saying is maybe things will pick up in 2026 and people will be able to refocus a little bit more on ESG. Very, very, very good. So in terms of your business, what have you got coming up for 2026 and beyond?
Well, and beyond, I'm not sure I can go
When,
that far.
when do you hit $1 billion? That's the question.
A long way off yet, mate. I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I do.
Call Sam Altman
Yeah,
when you get
exactly.
there.
I won't be in this lifetime, put it that way. No, I mean, for business such as mine, it's about really helping the current clients that I'm working with and getting them established in the UK market. And some of them I've only just taken on recently. We're getting very good traction with a lot of the clients that I work with. So the immediate future kind of is about getting those businesses established, and getting them a solid footprint in the UK, and beyond, should they need it, because I have contacts in mainland Europe as well, and done a lot of business in that part of the world. But as a business, as kind of a one-man band that I run, you can never have enough. So if there are companies out there that are looking to kind of enter this market, I'm always open to a conversation. But the immediate kind of short-term goal is to make sure that the current businesses are happy and they're well serviced, and we're getting them established into agencies, publishers, whatever it is that their product offers, and helping them optimize kind of their portfolio of products for this market.
Nice, very good, very good. Okay, what we do is we tend to finish with some quick fire questions. So just first of all, your favorite brand in the media and ad tech space, apart from obviously your business?
If I had to choose one, it would be DoubleClick. Obviously, it's where I began my career, so it's still very close to my heart. It was a lot of fun, great people, very much so. A work hard, play hard philosophy. If you allowed me to push it to two, then the second one would be AppNexus.
Yeah, nice. Very good. In terms of an individual in the space you'd love to give a shout out to, and why?
Yeah, that would be my brother from another mother, Hussein Husseini. We met at DoubleClick. We didn't get on. He thinks that we get on now, but generally we. But no, he's done very well for himself. We have kind of a similar background in terms of where we started, how we came through. He went to agency world for a couple of years, worked for some big agencies, and now he's also running his own consultancy very successfully.
Nice, very good. And your number one lesson learned since starting in the industry?
Number one lesson learned since starting in the industry. To be honest, I think we touched on it earlier when we talked about AI and platforms and that kind of thing, but people and relationships, I think, are still the most important aspect of this industry. And I don't think any level of kind of AI or platform will really change that too drastically. So, it's a small knit ecosystem that we operate in, even though it feels like it's huge. But maintaining good relationships and working with good people, I think, is the number one lesson that I learned. It's very much a relationship, people driven market.
Definitely. Especially in the UK, I feel there's sort of around London, sort of everybody in the industry sort of knows each other.
Yeah.
Very good. AJ, it's been great having you on. Thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll catch up soon.
Take care.